Here's something most men completely miss. She's already showing you she regrets it. Right now, while you're sitting there wondering if she even thinks about you, she's been sending signals. You're just not recognizing them because you're looking for the wrong thing. You think regret looks like her texting, "I'm sorry," or admitting she messed up. But that's not how women work. We don't spell it out. We don't make it obvious. And if you're waiting for her to clearly say she took you for granted and wants you back, you're going to completely miss what's actually happening. Here's the reality. When a woman pulls back and then realizes she lost something valuable, she doesn't reverse course dramatically. She tests the water. She creates situations. She drops breadcrumbs. And most men, because they're still hurt or confused, either miss these signs completely or misinterpret them as something else. I'm going to break down 5 specific behaviors that show she's feeling regret, but hiding it. These aren't guesses. These are patterns that appear consistently when a woman realizes she lost a good man. And once you see them, you'll never misread the situation again. Sign 1 is happening on social media, and most men scroll right past it. Now, before we dive into these signs, let me be clear about what this is, and what it isn't. This isn't about getting revenge. This isn't about playing games or manipulating her emotions. This is about reading situations accurately so you can make informed decisions from a position of clarity, not confusion. The reason this matters is simple. When you can identify regret, even when she's hiding it, you're no longer operating from a place of uncertainty. You're not sitting there wondering if she cares. You're not second-guessing every move. You have information, and information is power. So let's talk about why this situation creates so much confusion in the first place. When you walk away from a woman who took you for granted, you enter this strange gray zone where you have no idea what she's thinking. Is she relieved you're gone? Is she regretting it? Does she even care? The uncertainty is brutal because you're left analyzing every small interaction. Or worse, the complete absence of interaction. Here's what makes this so psychologically complicated. Women process regret differently than men expect. When a woman realizes she lost something valuable, her first instinct isn't to announce it. It's to protect her pride. There's a vulnerability in admitting I was wrong, or I took him for granted. So instead, she'll test the water. She'll create situations where she can gauge where you're at emotionally without fully exposing herself. It's a defense mechanism. She wants to know if the door is still open before she risks walking through it. And this is where most men mess up. They're in one of 2 camps. Either they're so focused on moving on that they completely miss the subtle signals she's sending, or they see every little thing as manipulation and assume she's just trying to toy with them. Both reactions cause you to misread what's actually happening. That's why having a framework matters. You need to know what genuine regret looks like when it's being hidden. Let me show you exactly what to look for. These 5 signs follow a pattern. They escalate in intensity as her regret deepens. Sign 1 is social media behavior most men scroll past without thinking. Sign 2 involves how she communicates about you to mutual friends. By sign 3, you're seeing direct changes in how she talks to you. Sign 4 is when she actively tries to re-enter your life. And sign 5. That's when the regret becomes undeniable. She breaks through the pride barrier completely. If you're still here, you're serious about reading this accurately. Let's break down sign 1. Sign 1. Indirect social media behavior. This is the subtlest indicator and it's happening in plain sight. After you stop engaging with her, pay attention to her social media activity. Not obsessively, just notice the pattern. Is she posting more frequently than she used to? Are her stories suddenly more active? Is the content slightly different, maybe more reflective, more about her life updates, things that feel like they're meant to communicate something? Here's what's happening psychologically. She's creating visibility. She wants you to see that she's still there, still living her life, and on some level, she's hoping you'll notice. It's indirect communication. She's not going to text you directly, but she'll post a story at a time when she knows you're usually online. She'll share something that references a memory or inside joke you'd recognize. These aren't accidents. And here's the thing most men miss. If she's checking your activity too, that's part of the pattern. If you post something and suddenly she's one of the first views, or if mutual friends mention she's been asking if you're seeing anyone, that's not random curiosity. That's reconnaissance. She's gathering information about where you're at emotionally without having to ask you directly. Now, is this manipulation? Not yet. This is testing. She's trying to figure out if the door is still open without risking full vulnerability. Think about it from her perspective. She took you for granted. You walked away. And now she's sitting with the consequences. She doesn't know if reaching out directly would be welcomed or rejected. So she creates these low-risk touchpoints to see if there's any response. What you need to understand: this behavior means she's thinking about you. She's not indifferent. If she truly didn't care, her social media would be unchanged. She wouldn't be strategically posting or checking your activity. The fact that there's a pattern means she's processing the loss. How to verify this? Look for consistency. One random story isn't a sign. But if over a week or two, you notice increased activity, strategic timing, or content that feels directed, that's signal, not noise. That's the subtle level. Sign 2 is when she stops being indirect and starts using other people. Sign 2. Through friends' communication. This is where she gets bolder, but still maintains plausible deniability. If you have mutual friends, pay attention to what's being said about you. Is she suddenly asking about you? How's he doing? Is he seeing anyone? Has he mentioned me? These aren't casual questions. When a woman who took you for granted starts asking about you through other people, that's intentional information gathering. Sometimes it's even more subtle than direct questions. She'll bring you up in conversation, maybe defending you if someone criticizes you, or mentioning a memory you both shared, or just casually dropping your name into discussions. Why? Because she's trying to keep you present in the social circle. She's reminding people, and herself, that you exist and that there was something there. Here's the psychology. Using friends as intermediaries is a pride protection strategy. She gets information without having to reach out directly. She can gauge how you're doing, whether you're moving on, if there's any sign you might still have feelings, all without exposing herself to potential rejection. It's reconnaissance through a buffer. And here's what a lot of men don't realize. When friends start telling you she's been asking about you, they're usually not doing it randomly. Often, she wants them to tell you. It's a calculated move. She's creating awareness. She wants you to know she's thinking about you, but she wants it to come through someone else, so she doesn't have to own it directly. What this sign tells you: her regret is strong enough that she's willing to sacrifice some pride, but not enough to risk full vulnerability. She's in the middle stage, past complete indifference but not yet at the point of direct contact. The intensity marker here is frequency and emotional tone. If she's asking once, that could be simple curiosity. If it's multiple times, with genuine concern or interest in your emotional state, that's regret surfacing. If she's defending you or speaking positively about you in group settings, she's trying to repair how you're perceived, which usually means she's considering reconciliation. Sign 3 is where things shift. You start seeing actual changes in how she communicates directly with you. Sign 3. Softened tone and random reach-outs. We're halfway through the signs, and this is where her regret becomes harder to hide. If you're seeing this one, she's moved past indirect signals. She's initiating contact, but she's doing it carefully. The tone shift is the first thing you'll notice. If she was cold or distant before you walked away, and now suddenly her messages are warmer, friendlier, more engaged, that's not random. She's not over you. She's softening her approach because she's testing whether you'd be receptive to reconnection. Random reach-outs are the second component. She'll send you a meme that made me think of you. She'll share a song. She'll reference an inside joke from when you were together. She might ask you a question about something she could easily Google herself. Hey, do you remember that restaurant we went to? These messages seem casual, almost insignificant. But they're strategic. Here's the psychology. She's creating reasons to talk to you that don't require her to admit anything. The meme, the song, the random question, these are all plausible deniability. If you respond positively, she can escalate. If you respond coldly or don't respond at all, she hasn't exposed herself. She can tell herself, I was just being friendly. What this reveals, she wants back in, but she can't say it. The pride barrier is still there, but it's cracking. She's willing to initiate contact, which means the discomfort of your absence is outweighing her pride. That's significant. The key distinction here is genuine versus boredom. If she's reaching out when she's lonely or bored, the messages will feel empty. They'll lack substance. They'll stop if she finds other attention. But if the messages reference your specific connection, inside jokes, shared memories, things only you two would understand, she's not bored. She's feeling the loss of what you specifically brought to her life. How to handle this? Match her energy, but don't escalate. If she's friendly, be friendly. But don't rush back into the dynamic you had before. You're reading the signal, not responding to it desperately. Maintain your position. If you see sign 4, she's done with subtlety entirely. Sign 4. Attempting to re-enter your life. This is where regret moves from subtle signals to active pursuit. If you're seeing sign 4, she's no longer just testing the waters. She's trying to create situations where you have to interact. Watch for manufactured proximity. She starts showing up at places you frequent. If you go to the same gym, suddenly her schedule aligns with yours. If there's a group hangout, she makes sure she's there. If you're involved in any shared social activities, she's now consistently present. These aren't coincidences. She's creating opportunities for accidental contact because direct reach out feels too vulnerable. The other version of this is asking for help or advice. Hey, I'm having this issue with my car, and I remember you know about that stuff. Could you help? Or she needs your opinion on something, or wants your expertise on a topic you're knowledgeable about. What's she doing? Creating a legitimate reason to engage with you that positions her as needing you. It's an ego-safe way to re-establish connection. You're not reaching back out because you miss her. You're just being helpful. Here's what this sign reveals. She can't handle the distance anymore. The absence has created enough discomfort that she's willing to engineer situations just to be near you or talk to you. This is active regret. She's not passively hoping you'll come back. She's taking action to pull you back in. The psychology here is fascinating. By creating these scenarios, she's giving herself plausible deniability while also giving you an easy opening. If you respond warmly to her presence or help her out, she can interpret that as receptiveness. If you're cold or distant, she can retreat without fully exposing that she wanted reconnection. Intensity markers. How often is this happening? Is it clearly strategic, or could it actually be coincidental? If it's once, maybe. If it's a pattern over weeks, she's actively working to re-enter your life. Red flags to watch for. If her attempts feel manipulative, like she's creating drama or trying to make you jealous, that's not genuine regret. That's control seeking. Genuine regret shows up as her wanting to add value to your life or simply be near you, not as her trying to get a reaction. How you respond here determines everything. If you engage too eagerly, you risk validating the behavior that led to you walking away. If you're too cold, you might close the door permanently if that's not what you want. The move is measured receptiveness. Acknowledge her presence, but don't chase. Now, sign 5 is when the pride barrier breaks completely. Sign 5. Vulnerable admission or direct conversation attempt. You've made it this far. This is the undeniable sign. When she breaks through the pride barrier completely and shows direct vulnerability, this looks like her initiating a real conversation. Not a meme. Not a random question. An actual, can we talk? Or I've been thinking about us. Or I miss you. This is emotional honesty. She's admitting something, maybe not the full extent of her regret, but enough to signal that she recognizes what was lost. Sometimes it's an admission of mistakes. I realize I didn't appreciate you the way I should have. Or, looking back, I see how I took you for granted. These are massive statements for someone who previously let you walk away without a fight. The fact that she's verbalizing regret or accountability means the internal pressure became too strong to contain. Here's what's psychologically significant. For her to reach this point, the regret has to outweigh the fear of rejection. She's risking you saying too late, or I've moved on. That's a vulnerable position, and most women won't go there unless they genuinely feel the loss deeply. But here's where most men make the critical mistake. They interpret this sign as mission accomplished and immediately soften their position or rush back into the relationship. That's exactly the wrong move. Just because she's feeling regret doesn't mean the underlying issues that caused her to take you for granted have been resolved. What sign 5 actually means. She's ready for a conversation. She's open to the possibility of reconnection. But that doesn't automatically mean you should reconnect. This is the moment where you need to evaluate, is this genuine growth and realization, or is this temporary discomfort because you're unavailable? Test it. If she's truly changed, she'll be willing to demonstrate it through action, not just words. If she's just reacting to the absence, she'll expect immediate forgiveness and return to the old dynamic. The difference is everything. Intensity markers. Is she specific about what she regrets? Does she acknowledge how her behavior affected you? Is she taking accountability, or is she just saying she misses you? The specificity and accountability tell you whether this is genuine or temporary. And that brings us to the controversial truth most men need to hear about what happens after you spot these signs. Now here's the controversial part, and I need you to really hear this. Spotting these signs doesn't mean you should take her back. If you see all 5 signs and immediately soften your position, rush back into her life, and act like nothing happened, you've just destroyed the very thing that made her feel regret in the first place. Your value increased when you walked away. The respect she's feeling now came from you maintaining your standards. If you abandon those standards the moment she shows interest, you're right back where you started. These signs matter for awareness, not action. They tell you she's processing the loss. They tell you the door might be open. But that doesn't mean you walk through it immediately. Because here's the harsh truth. If she took you for granted once, she can do it again. People don't change just because they temporarily feel regret. They change when they genuinely recognize the problem and commit to different behavior. What should you do instead? Maintain your position. If she wants back in, she needs to demonstrate, through consistent action over time, that the dynamic would be different. Not just say it. Show it. Effort. Respect. Consistency. If she's not willing to do that, then her regret is about losing access to you, not about genuinely valuing you. Ask yourself this: would you rather be wanted or needed, respected or convenient? If you fold the moment she shows regret, you're choosing convenience over respect, and you'll end up in the exact same cycle. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you spotted any of these signs? Which one showed up first for you? And more importantly, did you stay strong, or did you reach back out? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one, and I'll respond to as many as I can. Your situation matters, and sometimes just writing it out helps you see it more clearly. Look, this channel isn't just about decoding female behavior. It's about building a community of men who refuse to settle for being taken for granted. Men who understand their value and aren't afraid to walk away when they're not respected. That's the bigger mission here. And here's what I want you to remember. You're not the one who lost value when you walked away. She did. You maintained your standards. You chose respect over convenience. That's not something to second guess. That's something to be proud of. Whether she comes back or not, you already won by refusing to accept less than you deserve. Stay strong.